Mahomes, or Rodgers? That's weird. Am I missing that Baker should be on that list? Oh, no, he's not. He's making commercials. Russ, Mahomes, or Rodgers? Who are you putting your money on?
Jenna with the shots. Listen, take integrity. Nick, I appreciate you teaching me and all young broadcaster and analysts on television around the world. Thank you for teaching us what take integrity is. I chose Russell Wilson before the year, and I'm going to stick to that. And when you look at it, MVP, most valuable player, it got to go to Russ because of how difficult his job is. He's playing with the worst defense in the history of the game. Mahomes right now, I'm not even putting Aaron Rodgers in it right now. I still need to see a little bit more. I don't know how this team goes from trending in the right direction to trending in the wrong direction. Like, I need to see them beat a really good team before I even put them there. But going back to Russ, worst defense. Patrick Mahomes have the 6th best defense in the NFL. And you also have Andy Reid. You have B-Enemy. You have 3 #1 wide receivers, and I'm adding Kelsey in that as well. Yep. Of course this guy is going to have everything he needs to be successful. So for me, it starts with Russell Wilson, and it ends with Russell Wilson because his job is more difficult.
So here's the thing. I do think that should matter. I do think incorporating supporting cast, coaching, how much is asked of a player should matter. And if things are close, the guy with the more difficult job should get the edge. So I think your line of reasoning there is very, very good. Unfortunately, right now, it ain't close. One guy has his team in position to be one of the top 2 seeds in this conference and has 1 turnover on the year. The other guy has 10 turnovers on the year. All their numbers, Russ, Mahomes, and Rodgers, are nearly identical except for the turnover numbers, and that is the worst thing a quarterback can do. Rodgers on the season has 3 turnovers, and 1 of them was returned for a touchdown pick 6. Russ on the season has 10 turnovers. 1 of them was returned for a touchdown and pick 6. Mahomes has 1 turnover. And I learned yesterday in watching some of the Brady analysis that Mahomes' turnover doesn't even count because it was a heave on 4th and 7. Exactly like Brady's final pick of the game. So Mahomes' 1 turnover actually was a good play he's supposed to make. So according to America, Mahomes actually has 0 turnovers. And so Russ had been brilliant, but 7 turnovers in the last 3 games drastically changes the hierarchy of MVP here. And it's not that he can't overcome it, but Mahomes is on pace for 45 touchdowns and 2 picks. If that pace continues, Wilds, this is not going to be close. Mahomes is going to run away and hide with league MVP. And I just feel like for Russ, the 4 turnover game and the 3 turnover game just kill him.
There's also a circus element to Mahomes' play, Brandon, that I think he just looks like the MVP. Like, put your numbers aside. When you're watching all the games, you're like, that guy's the best player. He's making underhand passes. He's doing little, long passes. He's doing handoffs that count as touchdowns. He just looks like the MVP. But Brandon, and I know you subscribe to Take Integrity, although you've got a new subscription. I'm gonna give you an out here. This is like Take Integrity adjacent. An addendum. Here's a way to think about it. Guys can play themselves off the MVP list. I would argue Russell Wilson lost him that game in Buffalo, so he's out. Aaron Rodgers did his little meme thing, and then he got crushed, so he's out. Josh Allen was never really in. Tom Brady just laid an egg in Tampa Bay. He's out. There's 2 guys on teams that have played really well and that haven't had a bad game. One is Patrick Mahomes. The other one, your guy Big Ben. You can still have Take Integrity because you have your Steelers Take Integrity, and you can have a little add-on of Big Ben for MVP. He's undefeated, and they were 8-8 last year, and now they're undefeated. Like, well, I don't know, guys. When I wasn't here, we were 8-8, and now we're undefeated. So I think it's a 2-person race between Big Ben and Patrick Mahomes. Take that one. It's a free one for you, Brandon.
I can't take it. No, absolutely not. Wilds. Look,
take it.
I'm starting to get really comfortable on this show. And Nick, the first thing that I do every single day when I wake up is I think about you. I say, you know what?
I'll take it.
What's Nick Wright's angle on this? And Nick, I got to be honest. You're getting super predictable. I knew you would go this way. I knew you would go. You would talk about the turnovers. So answer me this, Nick. Kurt Warner had 5 multiple turnover games when he won MVP. Brett Favre had 3. Peyton Manning had 2. So how do you answer that? Patrick Mahomes, he also had the similar journey that Russell Wilson is having right now on his path to MVP. So if that's what you're standing on, then you need to have a defense behind that, because the history has shown that MVPs in the past have had multiple games where they had several turnovers, whether it's a pick or a fumble.
That's true. That's true. You're absolutely right. Kurt Warner, I think, famously in 01, because of all the fumbles, when you said 5 multiple turnover games, I think it was 5 3+ turnover games, which Russ has 2 of. So you're absolutely right on your history there. So let me address both of those critiques, or both of those issues. One is, you mentioned Patrick Mahomes in 2018, where he had a dozen interceptions and I think 2 or 3 other fumbles. I know he lost some fumbles in that Rams game, that high-scoring Rams game. So he had 15, 16 turnovers that game. I remember it well. The reason he was able to overcome that is the closest other contender for MVP, Drew Brees. He had 18 more touchdowns than Brees and 1,000 more passing yards. So if Russell Wilson was on pace to crush the field in yards and in touchdowns, then you can set the turnovers aside. But right now, Russ and Mahomes are on pace for about the same amount of touchdowns and about the same amount of yards. So because of that, you can't set the turnovers aside. And Jenna, the other point is like, Russ's turnovers would not be enough to knock him out of this in a normal season. And again, we got half the year left, so we'll see if Mahomes has a game like this. But of these 3 guys, and Wild said it, Rodgers lost his team a game against Tampa. Russ lost his team a game against Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes hasn't done that. So as long as he continues to not have a bad game, he's going to be the leader in this race, Jenna.
He has the best supporting
I have no
cast
take
in the
integrity.
NFL.
So I'm taking Ben
That's
Roethlisberger.
true. That is
My
true.
lines are just landing. My lines are landing. They're all landing. Time now for In or Out. According to a report yesterday, multiple front offices believe LaMelo Ball will be the #1 overall pick in next week's NBA draft. Oh, yeah, we switched gears. We're talking some basketball. The report says the T-Wolves, or a team that trades up, are the most likely to land LaMelo. Nick, you in or out on LaMelo going #1 overall?
Yeah, in this very odd year, I don't think it'd be a bad pick. I think Wiseman would make sense for some teams, but not for the Timberwolves. I think Anthony Edwards could make sense for some teams, but not for the Timberwolves. So if the Timberwolves stay there, I would take LaMelo if I were them. He has the most upside. His size is outstanding. He's got to fix his shot. So I got no problem with it. But the Timberwolves, keep in mind, they don't have their pick next year. So they might want to package this for a later pick and a player who can help them win right now, because they're trying to make the playoffs in the very crowded Western Conference. But if they stay there, Jenna, then I would take LaMelo Ball if I were them.
Hey, is D'Angelo Russell still a point guard? He still handle the ball? Call me old-fashioned, your old buddy KW. You know what I like? 1 point guard per team. That's it. It's the same reason Wiseman doesn't want to go to Minnesota. He's like, they already got a guy playing my position. So, and I know he was on, D'Angelo Russell was on JJ Redick's podcast, like, no, I kind of like it. It'd be like when I was in Brooklyn with Karis LeVert.
Everybody has a podcast.
Just have 1 point guard a team, please. Just have 1 point guard. We've already gone through this with Minnesota when they're drafting multiple point guards. Just 1 point guard. It's not hard, Brandon.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, no, I'm all the way in.